Welcome to the NGO Whisperer Show in partnership with Behenet. This is a show that celebrates the lives of men and women around the world who are making an impact in other people's lives. My name is Carolyne Opinde. I am the founder of the NGO Whisperer, a consulting business that helps nonprofits raise funds so they can successfully impact people's lives. Joining us today via Zoom is Marie-Christine Nibagwire. Marie-Christine is a humanitarian and a voice for refugees. She is an award-winning humanitarian. Marie-Christine, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure and an honor to have you all the way from London, the United Kingdom. Marie, could you please tell us what is it that you do as you work with refugees around the world?
Yes, thank you. Working with refugees has been a pleasure and a joy, especially after surviving the genocide of Rwanda and becoming a refugee myself. I got a lot of understanding of what they go through. And then I developed the kind of compassion on how I can make their life better, starting from myself. I left Rwanda during the genocide, crossed the 4 countries on foot with my daughter on my back. It was not that easy. Seeking asylum without success, without any luggage or food or pass, it was not easy, especially for a young mother like me. You can imagine traveling, crossing countries without papers or money, how vulnerable that woman can be. So I know what it is to be a refugee, and I also know what it is to be a mother holding a child without the food, without medical treatment, without any hope, and going without knowing the direction.
So how did you find yourself in the United Kingdom, having crossed many countries in Africa in such a difficult situation? How did you get on a plane and go to the United Kingdom?
I came here illegally, like many refugees, desperate, seeking peace somewhere, and also seeking a place where I can get my basic needs met. So I came here illegally. I have to say, it's a shame, but this desperation, you cannot know how you can behave. Unfortunately, the British authorities considered my case and they granted me asylum. That's how I came here.
So in the process of seeking for asylum in the United Kingdom, explain to us how the process went through and how that made you turn your situation into a humanitarian kind of support and help that you give to other refugees.
So my coming here and the support I got from the British authorities, the services around, like social services, and also the church people, it caused me to be grateful and to be willing to help others. I am a believer and I'm a Christian believer, and it is written in the Bible that we will comfort others with the comfort we ourselves have received. It's my pleasure now to help other refugees who are coming struggling here in the West or North America, wherever they are, to help them with the comfort I have got. It was not easy. When you come, obviously, you don't know if you'll be accepted or rejected, sent back or not. There's this trauma, there is this hopelessness, but also the culture shock. Imagine from Rwanda to the UK, the language barrier. English is my 5th language. You can imagine how it was for me. And also not having left the social life of Africa, where you are surrounded with big family members, your friends. You come in the loneliness of the UK. Even if I live in London, there's so many people, millions of people, but you get lost in the crowd. So it can be very difficult for the refugees. And many refugees who come from camps in Africa, they come here in the West thinking it is safety, it is heaven, but they get loneliness, they get depressed, and many end up in mental hospitals. when those whom they left in Africa without food or medical treatment, shelters, they think that those who have come in the West are in heaven, but they suffer much. This is what I've realized. When refugees are on the run in a survival mode, looking for day to day, thinking of how they are going to survive day by day, they don't remember what they've lost, the people they have lost. It's when they arrive at a place of safety like this, when the memories, the flashbacks come back and they hit you, especially when you don't have anyone to share those memories with. They affect you emotionally, and the post-traumatic stress disorders start affecting you. So I've gone through all that, and now I've been healed and restored. It has been my joy and pleasure to help other refugees.
So how do you go through the process of helping refugees the moment you met them? Walk me through that process to the point where they get help or they're referred for asylum and other help that they may need. We would like to know what that process looks like.
Okay, so refugees have different needs. You cannot put them in a box and say these are the needs of every refugee. Some have the issues background. For example, if you are a woman if you come as a refugee and your 3 children have been killed and your husband, you're not the same like another woman who is with her husband and all her children. So you have to listen to them. The main thing is to listen to each an individual. Also, you have to understand their culture. For example, in Rwanda, there were women who were raped. Yeah. In our culture, talking about the sex and talking about rape was something, it's like a taboo. You won't talk about it. In Britain, in Europe, you can talk about it. Rwanda, to go to tell you that, it has to have to be the trust. It can take years for her to be able to open up her mind, and yet it is affecting her. So you have to be patient, to be listening, and also to learn much about the culture of people who are reaching out. So it was easy for me to reach out to Rwandan women people because I knew the culture and I knew the language, and also I had the compassion, having gone through what they went through. I had such kind of compassion and love, and also hope for them, because I believe that whatever happened to me and happened to them, if I was healed and restored, they can also be healed and restored. That has been my encouragement.
So what are the process do you take them through, after listening to what they went through? And I also know that you are a trained counselor who works with people, and also as an ordained minister, you are in a position to professionally provide support to anyone undergoing any post-traumatic stress disorder or just in need of counseling. What are the other services that you offer or link these refugees to?
First of all, I try to connect refugees with their communities. Communities are very important, especially people from the same background, the same language, they're very important. And you find that most of the time in the refugee groups, for the case of Rwanda, many Rwandans were Christians, it was very easy to connect them with churches, but there are others who may be Muslim. It's okay to connect them with mosque. So there is healing in the solidarity of their suffering, when they share, when they have someone to listen to them, to talk to, or to share their experience, even in horrible experiences. I've realized it brings healing to many. So also, these are faith groups. There are also social services. There are cases of social services. Let's say they have children, they don't know where to take them, they have social issues, children are traumatized. They need many services to help them. The social services would be the best people to link them to other services. They may have mental health issues. Social services would be the best people to help them. Yeah.
So you link people to their faith groups, whether they're Christians, Muslims, or other faiths, you link them there for spiritual nourishment, because when your spirit is nourished, you begin to have peace from inside and you are healed from that. And then you also link them to social services. Do you also work with other government authorities to help these refugees, just like you are seeking for papers because you are illegal at first and now you've been given political asylum. How do you help them to go through the process of getting asylum from governments?
Yes, I collaborate with many organizations that have different callings. There are organizations that are specialized in immigration issues, papers, and they would connect them to lawyers or solicitors. There are also other organizations that deal with the housing issues for refugees, such things like that. There are also organizations that would do befriending. Befriending someone to come and be showing you, this is why you can do shopping, this is why you can go to church, this is how you can take a bus, this is how you can take a train. That's also is very, very important. But I realize that faith groups are very, very important. First of all, when you arrive in a city like London, busy city, you don't know anyone, you don't speak the language. So you cannot knock at your neighbor's door when you are a refugee. They can call the police. Any doors, any organization, most of the time you need a membership card. As a refugee, you are not allowed. And then really, many people, they have very bad stereotypes of refugees, especially when they are new. They don't speak the language. But the only place that is open to them is faith groups. That's the only place they can knock to. They can say, you are welcome. And also, this is a place they would expect to meet someone from their culture, their language, yeah? And the more they get there and they are integrated, they get healed quickly from their trauma. Trauma kills many because of loneliness, because of not having the opportunity to share their pain and suffering with others. But the faith groups are key for healing the trauma. So you may also know that with some other church leaders, faith group leaders, we developed a video on how faith groups should be welcoming refugees. That is also available, and I can send it to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. I have watched your video where you are working with refugees in Italy, and I saw the work right there, and I was so amazed at how you helped people. And it was like you spent a few days with them, and I could tell the difference in their faces and how they looked, and how they responded to the community, and how the community welcomed them with your intervention. So what you're doing is really important. And one aspect of what you do is overcoming what people might think to be, something that is not really tangible and might not affect anyone, but loneliness is a terrible thing. It can kill someone because when you're lonely, you don't know what to do. And the fact that you connect people, whether it's through the faith groups or the other community groups, that is amazing. And I just want you to clarify, because people sometimes confuse between a migrant and a refugee. Could you please just give us the definition as a specialist working with refugees?
Mm-hmm. So I got to learn about those different definitions when I worked with the International Committee of the Red Cross, where I was dealing with this kind of refugees. Obviously, you have to know the difference. So a migrant is someone who moves from one place to another out of choice. You can move from South Africa to come and live in London. You can tell your colleagues, I'm planning to move to South Africa, your parents, and then you resign from your job and you have a party saying goodbye, I will be in the UK. This is my address in the UK, by the way. And then you move to the UK, you have your cell phone or WhatsApp, you tell them, this is my new WhatsApp, this is my address, keep in touch. But you are free, you can go to South Africa anytime you want. You can come back, it's free, it's your choice. But a refugee is someone who is forced to flee. And most of the time they go to places where they don't know, but for fear of persecution, either because of their political parties, their tribes, their ethnic background, their religion. They are chased away and they have to flee to save their lives. So in the case of Rwanda, for example, you know how the killing took 800,000 people in 3 months. I couldn't afford to die and to see my daughter dying. I ran with my daughter without even a pack or package or baggage or pass. I just ran to save my life. When I ran, I did not know that I would end up crossing 4 countries and end up here. I left thinking things will be better in a few minutes. I come back, let me go outside my door. And then it became worse. You crossed the door, crossed the street, you crossed the country, and you crossed the whole country, and another one, and another one. And here I am, 25 years. That's how it is.
So with the 25 years experience that you have, experiencing being a refugee, having no legal documents, to the point that now you are a globally recognized specialist working with refugees. I'm aware that you have won many awards. Could you please share with us what those awards were so people can know how qualified you are to do this and they can also reach out to you?
Thank you. After this, I survived the genocide of Rwanda, and I remembered how many dead bodies I stepped on and how many people I lost and how I survived really miraculously. Something come in me, I always ask myself every time I wake up, who am I and why am I here? And the why am I here answer is I'm here for a purpose, to save the lives of others. So I've dedicated my life to do that, to help refugees, also restore their lives. And because of that, I've also helped those who are in the UK, in Europe, and I've demonstrated to the whole society, to the UK, that refugees are not a burden, they can be also a blessing. So because of that, I've demonstrated this kind of certain level of resilience and leadership in the UK, and I was given an award called Woman on the Move Award. It was given by an organization called Migrant Organize, which also work with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. And then I worked with, as a trauma counselor who had experience in working with refugees. You may have heard about the Grenfell Tower.
Yes, I have.
Fire. It's in my neighborhood. When I lost some of my neighbors in that fire, and the community were in distress and disorder and trauma, and the services even did not know what to do with such trauma. Having gone through the traumatic events and having been working with people who have already been traumatized, I decided to serve my community. I offered to serve volunteer in my community. And because of that, I got an award from the British Parliament. It's called African Achievers Award, because I have demonstrated for social change, social impact in my community. So then recently, as you may know, with all the terrorist attacks, the shootings in schools in America, the refugees from Syria, everything that disturbs peace in my community or a reward or whatever I see on TV disturbs me. And I'm always the person who think, what can I do? My word, I like the word of Mahatma Gandhi, who says, be the change you want to see in the world. So I always want to invest for the change I want to see. So I did studies in peace building, atrocity prevention, and I've been teaching that in schools. I believe that the only way to prevent atrocities for the next generations is to teach people from the very early age the values of love, tolerance, and the respect of the other person who is not your background, your color, your type, to respect them and to love them, to tolerate them. So I've been teaching that in many schools and many young people, and I got an award for serving for peace, and also I've been made peace ambassador by the Universal Peace Federation. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much. And we know that those awards are not just accolades that are given to you for nothing. They are accolades that are given as a way of saying, Marie-Christine, thank you for what you're doing for refugees and people going through trauma, because you're not only working with refugees, as in the case of the community where there was a fire, and you stepped up your game and you said, I went through this, I've helped refugees overcome stress, and I'm going to help this community, and you are recognized by the Parliament of the UK. Thank you so much. Really appreciate what you are doing in the communities. As we come into the end of this show, What would you like to share with any refugee who might be flipping through the channels and come across Behenet videos and programs and TV shows and they watch you? What would you like them to know right now?
I would say that as long as you breathe, as long as you are not maybe in a tunnel, you don't know where you are heading, but as long as you breathe, never lose hope. I've been there. I never knew that I could survive and my daughter could survive. And also, I like to speak to parents, refugees who are parents. It's very easy to speak negative things to your children because you are desperate. Your children can succeed. Do not lose hope. Just move. Have hope to be able to survive today, and tomorrow may be better. I have hope for you, and I have hope for your children. My daughter was, I can say this maybe, my daughter was late for school when we arrived in the UK. We struggled, obviously, with the language barrier. We did not know she would make it, but she did. With the support she got around, with friends, with encouragement of church people, community group, she did well. She just finished her master's in Oxford University. No one could believe she could have made it. When I was crossing those countries, when she was hungry and she was nearly dying for hunger or starvation, I never thought she would make it. But she can make it. Your children can make it. You can make it too, because I made it. So also, other things I would say to refugees, what sustained me so far was my faith and my belief in God. So I believe in God, and that's what gave me hope and faith to move on. And I wish everyone I can impart this faith to everyone I could reach. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marie-Christine, for the amazing work that you do with refugees, people who have been forced to move out of their countries into other countries. And to everyone who is watching us today, I would like you to recognize if there's any refugee, one of the most beautiful thing you can ever do is to befriend them. As Marie-Christine said, she is a specialist working with refugees, and the first thing she does is, as she said it, she listens to them. So if you're there and you know of a refugee who lives in your neighborhood, the first thing you can do, just like Marie-Christine, listen to the people so that you can be able to get to know their stories and then give them help or refer them to help. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you on our show today. And if you would like to know more about the work of Marie-Christine Nibagwire, a humanitarian and a refugee specialist who lives in the UK and works all over the world with many refugees, whether they are from Africa, Iraq, Syria, and many other countries, you can go to our website at Behenet or the NGO Whisperer. Thank you so much, because it's all about connecting people, raising funds, and impacting lives. Thank you.